Okay, so we have spent several weeks doing factoring and all of those things and solving. Now we're going to put it to practice. Okay, so we are going to now graph quadratics, and we're going to all we're going to do is plot zeros and find our LOS. Okay, and I'm going to talk about what LOS is. LOS is line of symmetry. Remember, symmetry means that it is the same. If you draw a line, it's the same on both sides. So like this figure, a U, is symmetric. If you draw a line, it's the same on both sides. Okay? You can draw a face that's symmetric. Okay? A little creepy face. But if you draw a line down the middle, it's the same on both sides. Okay? So that's what line of symmetry is, and you are going to find it by adding your two zeros and dividing that number by 2. Alright, so it's the average of your two zeros. So here's our first example. So we're going to take this and we're just going to factor it like normal. Okay? So we take 2 as your magic number. You find 1 and 2, and that does equal 3, so that is my my factors. So I take x squared plus x plus 2x plus 2. So you know you split up the middle term, put a line down the middle, take out your GCF. So I have x plus 1, and take out a 2, x plus 1. So we have to remember how to factor, and if you have questions, you need to come ask your teacher. So then it's x plus 1 and x plus 2 is your two factors. Now, to be 0, you're going to plug in y is 0, so this is going to equal 0. Now, we did this when we solved. X plus 1 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0. So I have x equals -1, x equals -2. So I'm going to go to my graph. I'm going to find the x-axis, which is this one right here, -1 and -2. So after I plot my 2 points, now I need to find my LOS. My LOS is you add up your two x's, -1 plus -2 divided by 2. Add them up, divide by 2. So that means that you are going to get -3 over 2. So that means it's -1.5. -1.5 is right here. So I am going to put a dotted line at -1.5. And that is all we're going to do right now. Okay? So let's review our steps. We first need to factor. Let me get a pointer here. We need to factor this right here. That's what you get. You put a 0 in for your y. So then we solve like we did in the next chapter, and we get your two x's. To put your two x's, you put it on the graph. Then, to find your LOS, you need to add up those two x's and divide by 2. And we get our -1.5, and we draw our dotted line. Okay, so we have x squared plus 7x plus 10, and that equals y. So then my magic number is 10. And to factor, I get 5 and 2, 1 and 10. Excuse me. All right. So we have that to add up to 7. We know we need to do 5 and 2. So then we have x squared plus 5x plus 2x plus 10. So I take out an x. We have x plus 5 we take out a 2, x plus 5. That's okay if you can't go this fast on factoring. That's fine, as long as you understand all the steps. So we have y equals x plus 5 and x plus 2. Now remember, we are going to change your y to a 0, and then we solve. So x plus 5 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0. So then to solve, x equals negative 5, x equals negative 2. So those are my two zeros. I'm going to plot those points. I have negative 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have my two zeros on my x-axis, remember. And then to find my LOS, I add up my two zeros and I divide by 2. So I get negative 7 divided by 2. So I get negative 3.5, which should be in the middle of, so it should be in the middle of your 2 points. If it's not, then we know we did something wrong. So if you see here, this line is right in the middle of those two zeros. Okay? So one more is we have 4 is your magic number, but we need negative 4. Well, 1 and 4 isn't going to get you anything. How about 2 and 2? 2 and 2 gives you positive 4, so we need negative 2 and negative 2. So that has to be our two zeros. So we have x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 4. And then I draw my line, I take out an x, so we get x minus 2. Take out a minus 2, so it would be the x minus 2. So I have 0 equals x minus 2 and x minus 2. Remember, we put in a 0 in for your y right here. That's why I have a 0. And then I solve. X minus 2 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0. So x equals 2, x equals 2. So now these are the same. So I still plot on my x-axis, x equals 2. Now you still are finding your LOS, which is 2 plus 2 divided by 2, which is 4 divided by 2, which is 2, which should make sense, right? And so your LOS is just going to be on top of your 0 because your zeros are the same. And so that would be a special case of graphing, but it still works. Okay? So that's all we're going to do for our first section is find your zeros right here. Plot those on your graph, find your LOS, draw your dotted line. Okay? All right, now you try some.